just want to bring you back to our breaking news this hour. Israel has agreed to U.S. President Donald Trump's proposal for a ceasefire with Iran. Prime Minister Netanyahu saying that it has achieved its goal of removing Tehran's nuclear and ballistic missile threat. So Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu releasing a statement just in the last few moments, posted by his office on Tuesday, saying that Israel has agreed to Donald Trump's proposal for a ceasefire with Iran. Let's go straight to our correspondent, Nour Odeh. She joins us from Jordan's capital, Amman. It has been indeed a very, very eventful night, but it seems we are now at this culmination point with the statement from Prime Minister Netanyahu, which comes some hours after we got that message from Donald Trump that there was a ceasefire. Talk us through exactly what we've heard.
Well, Marlene, it has been one heck of a night, really, for all involved. And, you know, let's begin from way back. Almost 12 hours back. Iran said that it was retaliating against the U.S. strikes. It targeted U.S. bases in the region, and then it started firing salvos of missiles against Israel. Then we heard from the American president, Donald Trump, saying that with his participation with the U.S. strikes and the U.S. influence, he was able to secure a ceasefire and that both sides will stop firing at about 400 GMT. Then we saw 5 successive salvos of Iranian missiles, lethal, really, especially in a direct impact incident in Beersheba in southern Israel, at least 4 killed. All the while, we didn't hear anything from the Israeli side. And just as the Israelis were waking up to the news that Donald Trump has declared a ceasefire, that it would be quiet for quiet, that Iran had hit Israel, and they were hearing already from opposition leaders taking jabs at Netanyahu, who, as far as the Israeli right wing is concerned, has achieved something historic. We got a statement from the office of the Israeli Prime Minister saying that Israel accepts this ceasefire. And there's a very interesting line that speaks to where the mindset of Benjamin Netanyahu is, which says the state of Israel achieved great historical achievements and placed itself on a par with the world powers. This is a tremendous success for the people of Israel and to his warriors who removed the 2 existential threats to our state and ensured the eternity of Israel. So this is where the narrative needs to be as far as Benjamin Netanyahu is concerned. This was a historic achievement for Israel. Israel got what it wanted, and now it can move on. Of course, there are still many other fronts of many other wars that Israel continues to wage, namely, and in particular, Gaza, where all attention will be shifted to now because there are still Israeli captives in Gaza, and there is no end in sight to that genocidal war.
Nour, interesting, towards the end of the statement, President Netanyahu says Israel thanks President Trump and the United States for their support in defense and their participation in eliminating the Iranian nuclear threat. Couple of things there. Firstly, this is going to be seen as a huge win, is it not, for Donald Trump? And also this point on eliminating the Iranian nuclear threat. We don't actually know that for a fact, do we?
No, we don't. We don't. And I think that ambiguity allows everybody to take a step back. Donald Trump can claim victory. He can play the peacemaker. He can say that I didn't go to war. The U.S. strikes actually facilitated an end to the war. Israel, which started this confrontation that put the entire region on edge, can claim that it achieved something historic, something that no other Israeli prime minister had been able to achieve. And Iran, at the same time, can also say that Iran was able to withstand all of that firepower and the U.S. strikes, that it did not crumble, that it did not raise a white flag. We don't know if there's an actual agreement, a text, if you will. We don't know if there were details, if the two parties agreed to certain things. What we do know is that the equation of calm for calm is now in place, and that leaves a lot of things open, but it does allow everybody to take a step back, to recover from this battering 12 days. Both sides took a beating. Israel is not without losses. It's not without a lot to recover from, economically speaking. And the same applies for Iran. So for now, it seems that at least this announcement can be played to everyone's domestic purposes as a win.
Yeah, just on that last point, Nour, do we have a sense at all of how ordinary Israelis are going to feel about this decision? I know in the days up to this point, many Israeli analysts were saying to us, you know, the Israeli people are very much on side with Prime Minister Netanyahu when it comes to the threat from Iran. But there has been a lot of damage in Israel. Just in the last few hours, another four Israelis have been killed in southern Israel. Do we have a sense at all at how ordinary Israelis are going to react to this news of the ceasefire?
I think it's safe to assume that ordinary Israelis will be relieved that they don't have to stay close to shelters, that the state of emergency won't persist, that the airspace in Israel is now open, and that planes of tens of thousands of Israelis stranded outside the country can now land in Ben Gurion at Tel Aviv. Remember that just yesterday we heard from the Israeli tax authority saying that in 12 days it had received individual requests for compensation amounting to over 1.2 or 1.3 billion US dollars. That's more than the request for compensation received throughout the past 20 months of confrontation in Israel. So you begin to understand and process just how large, how impactful this confrontation was. Short-lived as it was something unprecedented in Israeli history. And so there were many questions already being posed about how long that could be sustained. What is the status of the Israeli stockpile of air defense missiles? We know that those stockpiles were already in short supply. They weren't being produced as fast as Israel was needing them to be fired. So there were a lot of questions that would have had to be answered in the coming days had this ceasefire not been announced. And I think a lot of former Israeli army officials who were warning about a war of attrition would be taking a sigh of relief now, knowing that it's over, that Israel wouldn't have to play this out much longer, longer than it did, and that it can, like I said, take a victory lap, if you will, domestically and move on, even though there are questions that remain to be answered, and that's why Iran can also claim a victory for its own purposes and to its own public.
Okay, many thanks for that, Nour Odeh, there for us in Amman.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.